Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of my Pokemon Battle Series, The School of Hard Knocks. So throughout this episode, like every other, we'll be jumping on to the Pokemon Global Link Battle Spot ladder, playing under the Championship Battle rules, which are the equivalent rule set of the VGC 2017 season. So it's Friday, everyone. Thank God it's Friday! Yeah, I hope everyone's having a great Friday. I hope you're all getting ready for the weekend. It is Easter this weekend, so whatever you guys are doing, if you're celebrating it or not, whatever you're doing, I hope you have an amazing time. So we're going to try and give you guys some great battles to kind of round off the week with the same team that we played all week, with the Tapu, Lele, Arcanine, Drifblim, Celesteela, Garchomp and Snorlax. So hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, we find some great games for you guys today to kickstart your weekend. And this will be it for the weekend, but we will be back on Monday with this team again. And we find our first opponent, 1790 rated Japanese player, and their team is Tapu Koko, Golduck, Celesteela, Whimsicott, Pelipper and Mudsdale. So, got the double duck there. Common double duck with the Tapu Koko, so we need to be very careful of the rain mode here. The Whimsicott is going to be threatening because it can set up those tailwinds as well. And then you've got the Celesteela and the Mudsdale. So straight away putting a lot of pressure on my Arcanine from the double duck there and the Mudsdale to kind of cover the Celesteela there. So we do want to bring Arcanine to this game. It's going to do, we need it really for the Celesteela like we've seen previously in the week. We're going to need it for the we don't need it for the Whimsicott. It's going to help a lot with the Whimsicott though. But this is not going to be an easy matchup at all. Now originally I had Sunny Day on the Drifblim, but I have changed that to Clear Smog. So in this sort of situation, the Clear Smog, the Sunny Day would have been perfect. But unfortunately we haven't got that. So we're going to have to work around that slightly. So let's see what we're going to do here. I think I could lead Drifblim here and bring Drifblim, but I don't know. Let's think. I think I might Celesteela. Then I'm not going to have any switch-ins for the Tapu Koko, but we'll go with it anyway. Not bringing the Garchomp here. We've got no straight switch in to anything Tapu Koko kind of fires off at us. So we need to kind of prioritise taking care of the Tapu Koko as well as everything else. But let's see how we get on in this first match today. I think we'll do alright. We just need to play it a little bit more precautious than usual. So, as Mr. Sean Connery would say. So we're going to lead off with our Tapu Lele and a Drifblim. And my opponent leads off with the Whimsicott and Celesteela. So, the Wimmy will be able to taunt my Drifblim straight off the bat. Stop it, because it's not affected by the Psychic terrain here. So, we're not going to be able to just willy-nilly fire off Tailwinds like we want to do. But here, I think what I might do is switch out my Tapu Lele into my... I could switch in the Arcanine here. It's going to put a lot of pressure on and kind of try and bait out my opponent's rain mode if he has brought it. I don't know though. Arcanine might be the better switch in this situation. Let's think about this. Yeah, I think I'm going to bring in the Arcanine here. And then I'm going to go for just a Shadow Ball onto this Whimsicott. Because I imagine a taunt coming out from the Wimmy to stop this Drifblim being able to set up potential Will-O-Wisps or Tailwinds, etc, etc. So, if we can just get some damage onto it, that's going to be a good start at least. Bring in the Arcanine, get the Intimidate off onto that Celesteela more importantly. We do see the taunt, as we expected, onto the Drifblim. But we haven't fallen for the taunt. We just went for the Shadow Ball, get some damage off, break that potential sash on the Whimsicott. And we'll see a Heavy Slam come out, probably into the Arcanine here. Yeah. Which we're easily able to take. So we are taunted. Now this next turn, what I'm going to do is go for a Snarl. Because I could imagine maybe the Tapu Koko coming in here. This is where it would be nice to have that Garchomp. Because I can imagine Tapu Koko coming in on the Celesteela slot and the Whimsicott going for maybe a Z move, Gigavolt Havoc. And we've not got anything because we haven't got the... if that kind of is the case, we've not really got too much we can do to switch into for the electric type move. So I think I'm just going to go for a Shadow Ball into that Celesteela slot. If the Tapu Koko comes in that slot, as we're going to see now, at least we'll be able to get some damage onto it prior to the Whimsicott launching a big Gigavolt Havoc into my Drifblim to take it down. But it doesn't look like my opponent's brought that rain mode, so that works out a little better for ourselves. Ooh, okay. Because the nature power that the Whimmy's using is priority based, it's going to be able to get it off before we can get any attacks off ourselves, which we've kind of just slightly forgot about. So we will lose the Drifblim here, but the important thing is that, oh, it's into the Arcanine. Okay, that changes everything massively. So we still keep our Drifblim. And we're going to get that Snarl off as well, which is pretty huge. So the Snarl's the big thing here. That's what we want to be doing. We want to be reducing the attack power of that Tapu Koko significantly if we can. But we need to be protecting our Arcanine as well, because we've got to keep in mind that that Celesteela is still in the back. So I'm going to switch out my Arcanine into my Tapu Lele here, and I'm just going to go for another Shadow Ball into the Tapu Koko slot, which should be enough to take it down this turn. We do need to be careful though, that Whimsicott can just go for another nature power, but now that we've brought the Tapu Lele in, we're gonna prevent it turning into an electric type move at least. So we actually see a light screen come out from the Wimmy, which is quite handy really, because it's going to mean that Tapu Koko is going to be able to survive the Shadow Ball pending a critical hit. So yeah, it just hangs on, and we see a Thunderbolt come out from the Tapu Koko into the Tapu Lele slot. We do see that the Tapu Koko is Life Orbed, so it does go down. Our Taunt wears off this turn. Let's see what my opponent's got. As I imagine the Celesteela to come in here. Yeah, Celesteela comes back into that slot. Right. Now I wonder if that Whimsicott is just going to go for another Taunt onto my Drifblim. I'm going to switch in my Arcanine again, just to get an Intimidate off onto the opposing Celesteela. And I'm not actually going to risk going for a Tailwind at this point. I don't really need to. I'm just going to try and prioritize getting rid of that Whimsicott. Once that's off the field, then we can start thinking about maybe setting up a Tailwind, maybe going for Will-O-Wisps, etc, etc. So just switch in the Arcanine, my Tapu Lele slot. We'll get that Intimidate off again, so a little bit like Groundhog Day here, and we'll go for the Nature Power, turn into Psychic. It doesn't affect the Arcanine because the Psychic Terrain obviously blocks any priority attacks, and we managed to actually get a critical hit, which is pretty huge because that light screen is up. My opponent is a bit unfortunate for my opponent, goes for the Heavy Slam into the Arcanine slot, which was the Tapu Lele, but we're able to take that quite nicely, and we'll see what my opponent's last Pokemon is, and it is the Mudsdale. So we're sitting in a really good position here, like really good position. We're not what I'm going to do is switch in my Celesteela for my Arcanine, preserve the Intimidate, and I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp onto the Mudsdale with my Drifblim. We may see a Leech Seed come out onto my Drifblim from the opposing Celesteela, but it may just protect to avoid any Flare Blitz. But we don't see any protect this turn. We get the Will-O-Wisp off onto the Mudsdale, and we get a Heavy Slam again. This is going to be into the Drifblim this time round, and just an Earthquake, which everything avoids because everything else on the field is floaty Pokemon. So this turn I will go for a Leech Seed onto that Mudsdale and a Will-O-Wisp into the Celesteela slot. So we're sitting pretty good at the minute. Yeah, my opponent realising that it's going to be a very difficult game for him to come back and just forfeit. So, nice win to take game 1. So, good game to my opponent there, and not a bad start to today's episode. So we will take that. I think the big thing was there, the Whimsicott not targeting into the Drifblim. I think if he targeted into the Drifblim that slot like I was expecting him to do, would have made the game a lot more difficult for us, because it more than likely would have picked up the KO against my Drifblim there. So I don't really know what the thinking was. Maybe thought that I had the Garchomp switch in on that slot, and obviously because he had the Celesteela, the big threat to him at that point was getting rid of the Arcanine. So kind of putting all your eggs into one basket and trying to get rid of that makes Celesteela's job later on in the match a lot easier. So it did make a lot of sense, but because we run such a bulky Arcanine, it does mean that we were able to take that and kind of close up the game a lot easier there. So we have our next opponent, and they are running a team of Garchomp, Talonflame, Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele, Whimsicott again, and Gengar. So Gengar Pokemon and the Talonflame on Pokemon we generally see very much in the metagame. Both quite speedy Pokemon and things that we need to be very careful of, because the Gengar will put a lot of pressure onto our Tapu Lele right from the off the bat. So I think here what I'm going to do is lead off with my what do I want to do? I do like maybe bringing my Garchomp here as a lead. I'm definitely going to lead Arcanine here no matter what, but I don't want to lead Arcanine on that side of the field. So let's think what we're going to lead Arcanine with. I think. I think I'm going to lead Garchomp Arcanine. Celesteela here. Celesteela is actually really decent here. And I think, do I want Tapu Lele? Do I want Tapu Lele? I think I do want Tapu Lele here, to be honest. We haven't got any speed control, but just being able to kind of control the terrain slightly is going to make it a bit easier for situations where the Tapu Koko's out, and if I've got Celesteela or Arcanine on the field and I want to reduce the attack damage of the electric attacks from the Tapu Koko, then it's always nice to have the option to kind of do that with the Tapu Lele switch in. So that's mainly the reason for me bringing it in this situation, but we'll see how we get on, and hopefully it works out alright. So we'll lead off with our Garchomp and our Arcanine, and my opponent leading off with the Garchomp and the Talonflame. So I imagine here we'll probably see the Talonflame go for a Tailwind when it can, first turn, and the Garchomp maybe Protect, or maybe just go for a Tectonic Rage. I don't know, or a Swords Dance even. I'm just going to switch in my Celesteela for my Arcanine, just in case. We don't want to lose Arcanine too early on in this match. It's going to be more important for us to keep for later on in the game. So just going to go for that Rock Slide, take care of the Talonflame. Hopefully the Rock Slide hits and does pick up the KO there. And I'm just going to switch in my Celesteela, which will just make any ground type attacks coming into that slot null and void. So let's see what my opponent goes for here. So we do see the Garchomp withdraw. Tapu Koko actually comes in. Okay, so that's quite interesting. So we might not actually see a Tailwind here, but we might as well. So you never know. Yeah, so there's a Tailwind from the Talonflame. And we go for the Rock Slide. Does pick up the KO on the Talonflame, doing a bit of chip damage to that Tapu Koko as well. Now we're going to see the Garchomp come back in now. I'd imagine we probably will. But it is the Gengar. Okay. So this kind of indicates to me that this Gengar might have Hidden Power Ice. Quite possibly. But we don't really need to worry about it too much. I'm just going to go for an Earthquake. and I'm going to go for a Protect with my Celesteela because I don't really want to switch in. I want to switch in my Arcanine, obviously, at this point, but I don't want to switch it in and Earthquake at the same time. It's counterproductive. So we'll just protect our Celesteela and we'll see if Garchomp can get through this turn. I'm sure he will be able to. See a Hidden Power from the Gengar. Garchomp easily able to take that, and just a Dazzling Gleam which we'll be able to take as well. Hopefully it's not a Choice Specs Tapu Koko, that will make a difference. But no, Gengar, like a boss, should be able to KO the Tapu Koko here and take that Gengar down to its potential Focus Sash, which we imagine it probably is holding, but it's not. Okay, so again, we saw earlier in the week just how good the Assault Vest Gengar is in these sort of situations. You know, your opponent expecting to double up onto it and it just easily takes the attacks and then returns with big KOs. So I did change the EV spread from my my International Challenge team that I was running. I obviously put Dragon Claw on the Garchomp as well, which makes it a lot more threatening to opposing Garchomps because we're seeing a lot less Tapu Finis as well, and with me being able to control the terrain with my Tapu Lele a lot better than I was previously, just made a lot more sense. So I put a lot more attack investment into it. So it'll be interesting to kind of go over that when I do the team review episode of this team. And my opponent just forfeiting there. So another forfeit, but another really good win for the team and just showing its complete dominance when played correctly. And you know, there's been points this week where I've been a bit, you know, what's the word, sleepy, I think, at times, and just not really taking full advantage of team previews and planning out matches very well. But especially today, I think it kind of just goes to show when you are getting the picks right, and things do go very well with the team. The team has a lot of potential to do very well. Like we've seen many YouTubers at the minute, you know, you've got Aaron Zeng, who actually won a regional with Lele Drifblim, and he's featured that team on his channel. Definitely go check that out. Very interesting team. You've got Baz Anderson, he's running it at the minute. Ray Rizzo, 3-time world champ, so he's running it as well. So you know, people are featuring it because it is a very strong core, and I think what we'll do, we'll play with it next week, and just see how much further we can kind of take it. I really love the team, but then what we'll do after that is we'll look at how to approach beating this core and picking apart this core, because this core is very strong. There's with all the Tapu Drifblim cores, there's very similar kind of archetypes behind each Pokemon, so it's not hard to identify where you need to kind of be going with the team to kind of pick it apart and dismantle it. But that'll be a really interesting thing to kind of look at, and we might even start that little team episode with the team building video, build it and then see how it does and kind of put those concepts into practice. But that's for another day. The other thing I wanted to ask you guys is, for a little while now I've been thinking about doing another series, maybe taking the foot off the gas with the School of Hard Knocks episode so much, and doing an overused doubles format, so playing on the doubles battle spot ladder. So we'll be introducing Mega Pokemon into the format and playing that format, because we've got to start at some point thinking about next season, next VGC season. Now I know a lot of you are new VGC players, some of you not so new, but the thing is, when I'm thinking back now to 2014 when X and Y first came out. Now a lot of Japanese players didn't play the format that year because it was a close-off format. And a lot of them went straight into playing the doubles format that year, and then 2015 rolled around and the rules changed to that doubles format, and you saw what happened at Worlds. There was like 7 out of the top 8 players in the world finals, they were all Japanese players, and they had played the metagame for a complete year before the format changed, and that's one reason towards their dominance. It's not to say that's the only reason. Obviously Japanese are very, very good in the forefront of creating metagames and playing metagames and, you know, all that sort of thing. But I think it would be a good advantage. And the other thing is that it's a little bit risky with doing it is we don't know the format rules for next season. So we don't know whether they're going to be overused doubles format where we can use megas and introduce the national decks of Pokemon into the format. So that's the other thing. But on the upside of that, I think it would be really quite fun to do and something that I would really like to do. So it's just putting the feelers out there at the minute, guys. No plans have been set, but if it's something you guys would be interested in, I think it'd be really fun to do. And you know, at the very least, if it does turn out to be that format next season, then we've all got a head start, haven't we? We've already got ideas that we can take forward into the new format where we're not getting it released on the day and thinking, oh my god, right, give me a list of all the Pokemon that we've got to use, let me learn everything now. At least if we start slowly doing it now, it's going to give us all a bit of a better chance to launch into it more successful when it does come round. So just an idea, guys, but I thought I'd mention it while I can because it'd be cool to hear what you guys think about that anyway. But we'll wrap things up there, guys. I'll not eat up any more of your weekend. Go away and have an absolute blast. Whatever you're doing, like I said before, if you're celebrating Easter, have an amazing Easter. If you're not, just have a great weekend anyway. It's always a pleasure having you here with me. If you've liked this video, please leave a like on the channel, subscribe to the channel so you get all the daily updates for when the team review episodes, the School of Hard Knocks, the QR code series comes out, and all the other things in between. So we'll call it a day there, guys. But as always, it's been a pleasure. Whatever you're doing, take care of yourselves. And until Monday, I'll see you then. So until then, guys, bye-bye.